I started watching So Becca, and I saw her putting together one of the cotton cuts things, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Now, when I saw the cotton cuts, I thought, it's cut for you. So I started out actually with Olympia because that was the Olympic Games were coming up. It was COVID. We were all stuck inside. I thought, why not? So I started with Olympia. That was my first one. And I got the colorway Dorothy, which was my mother's name. And my mom passed away 9 years ago. And so I made it for my dad so that my dad would always have Dorothy wrapped around him.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So, and I loved it. I loved it that, putting the pieces together because it was manageable. It was so easy to do. So then I started sharing it on my YouTube channel because I was like, well, if I can do this, anybody can do this.
We talked about this at the reveal in November. And I was like, oh, I know for sure what I would pick if I was picking for the two of you, because I know your guys' taste so well. And like you played the script. Ian was like, I'm going to challenge her a little bit.
Kim, what would I have picked?
So you would have probably done Purple Mist.
Yep, 100%. The purple batiks. 100%. I love doing batiks for the Puzzle Mystery Quilt. Honestly, I think it's the best thing because they press nicely, they're crisp, they feel good, there's no wrong side, you don't have to stress about it. And I'm just a really big fan of batiks. So
from a production perspective, we love die cutting those batiks. They die cut so nicely. They don't fray, they don't shed. They're less than pleasant to count because there's no right side, wrong side. So that is, I mean, anytime we have an issue, it's always like, okay, we're supposed to send 8, but only 7 came off the die cutter because batiks just seem to vaporize. I don't know why. And so that's always the one we struggle to get that one. And but we're, I mean, you know us, like we replace it. Like that's one of those things we just do. We just send out the parts, especially the batiks, because we know consciously that they're gonna be a problem.
Yep. And I've had that happen where even as an ambassador, some of my clues are missing a piece. Things happen. But the neat thing that I love is that you guys have streamlined it, right? So if there is something missing, if there is something not right, you just pop onto the website. There's a really quick form that you fill out. It takes you 30 seconds. You can do it from your phone. And in like 2 days, you'll have the replacement in your mail. There's no muss, no fuss. It just happens. So
right. I mean, I get it. Like we make mistakes. I would rather put the parts and pieces and put a stamp on it and get it out to you and get you back to sewing than be like, I got to charge you 30 cents. Like, that's stupid. That makes no business sense. Like, it'd be like, too bad, so sad. You're doing this awesome project. Like, we want you to finish. We like you guys getting to the finish line. And so in order to enable that, we'll take the time to put the 2 pieces in the mail. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are getting live on Instagram. Fantastic. All right. We are live. It is a special evening edition, folks. It is 5:30 here in St. Louis. I hope you are coming on your way home, having dinner, possibly still at work and sneaking in a little bit of a live before the end of your day. Guys, we have an amazing guest today. We would not do a 5:30 show for just anyone. There is a super special guest waiting in the wings. This is a longtime supporter of Cotton Cuts, Ian. Oh my gosh, we'll get into it when I bring him on, but Ian and I have been doing this Puzzle Mystery Quilt together for I don't even know how long, but Ian has been a huge supporter of us. We're a huge supporter of him. We love what he's doing. He loves what we're doing. It's all awesome and great. We get to hear all about it in just a minute. So what we're going to do is bring Ian on. Ian is joining us on YouTube and on Facebook. Time out before we go much further. I always forget this part. Like, you guys have to accept the terms and conditions to be able to comment so we can see who you are. We've got a ton of people queuing up over here. Ian, I don't know if you can see the comments. They're all talking about how much they love you. So Ian, join me over on the Instagram. Let me see here. I think I have to do this and invite you and hit the volume because it's going to be really gross for us.
Oh, 2 seconds.
Yeah, same thing.
It always happens this way, and I think we might be good. How's that?
I think we're okay. Do we have can everyone hear us on the Instagram and not have an echo?
Hi, everyone on Instagram.
All right, I think we got it. So I love it. It works with the best people. All right, so Ian, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. It's been like since November since we got to see you. I love you so much. I cannot believe it's been that long since.
It has it has been a hot minute since we saw each other. I apologize. My iPad is literally slipping through the holder. So you might see me reach over this way every now and again because it looks like Instagram wants to jump onto the tabletop for a moment.
Okay. Every now and then, like if you're watching one of our lives, you'll see my arm like wave frantically behind the table. It means I'm trying to communicate to those people over there.
Right,
That's
right.
how the secret sauce is made. Okay.
At least it's not wobbly poles this time.
That is still one of my favorite moments of like every PMQ reveal. Because so to remind everyone, we were revealing a mystery, and Ian was like, I'm going to absorb the technology and have a green screen, and I am going to swipe, and in a like magical stream of glory, there is magical stream. We've got fireworks. There's going to be a quilt. And Ian, what happened?
The backdrop that's actually holding up the quilt that you see behind me decided that it wanted to be the star of the show. And it got, as I was revealing, the coat hangers that I use got stuck and everything just came tumbling down, and live television.
I mean, live television. So they say never put kids and animals, never put props with clothes hangers and expect green screens. I mean, but it was funny. It was worked. The quote was amazing, and the show went on.
Yes,
So,
it did.
Ian, okay, we're gonna start with my favorite first question for everyone.
Absolutely.
Give me the origin story. How did you get into quilting? How did you get into the YouTube space? Tell us the beginning.
All right. So it started back in 1986 when I was born. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. I've never had to tell someone to like, let's abbreviate that a little bit. Okay, let's go.
So my journey for quilting actually starts back with my aunt. She made me a Harry Potter quilt when I was in middle school, and I literally loved that quilt to death. I slept with it on my bed every single night forever and ever. And about the time that I was in college, it literally started to fall apart. And people use literally wrong. They're like, oh, I literally fell down the stairs. No, no. I literally made it fall apart because I loved it so hard. So I asked my aunt, I was like, hey, can you make me another quilt? And she said, no, but we'll make one together. So we went in and we made a quilt together, and that's kind of where my love of quilting and quilts started. And then I've been continuing on ever since. It has been a fun journey learning about all different things and getting into the quilt guilds. I'm a member of the Fort Worth Modern Quilt Guild, and learning about all of that. And then also getting to see the National Modern Quilt Guild and all the quilts that are amazingly produced and created and entered into the show, which unfortunately they didn't want my quilts this year, but maybe next year,
QuiltCon rejects are some of the most amazing quilts I've ever seen in my entire life. So
they are. They really
you were
are.
in fantastic company to be a QuiltCon reject. Don't be sad. Hold your head high. That's a good one.
I definitely am, and I definitely agree with you. There are some amazing quilts that if you use the hashtag QuiltConReject on Instagram, you see the parade of beautiful quilts, and it's always such a mystery as why they didn't get into the show, but it in its own self is a beautiful show as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, so tell us, what was that? So I love your aunt's approach, right? The like, you can lead a man to water, but you can't teach him to fish, right? So tell us, what was that very first project that she taught you to make?
So we did a very simple one. We literally just kind of started collecting Disney fabrics because I'm a huge Disney fan, love Disney World, Disneyland, anything Disney, and I wanted it to be Disney related. So we collected a lot of different types of Disney prints from Joann's, and we just started making blocks, just square blocks using the Disney print fabric. And then I wanted to kick it up a notch because I have a Cricut and I have to use it whenever possible. And so we went in and we started doing solid fabrics and putting Mickey Mouse head silhouettes, I can't even talk at the moment, over those solid prints. And if you go into my Instagram or any of my social media, and I actually talk about this quilt on a video as well, we went in and did some applique and just kind of zhuzhed it up a little bit using those materials and the Cricut. And I forgot, you asked how I got started here on YouTube, and I actually started off as a paper crafting channel. I did that for a long time and met some amazing paper crafters and enjoyed that. And then my taste and my preferences and just my interest changed. You know, Marie Kondo always says, if it doesn't spark joy, let it go. I didn't say that right, but we'll go with that. That's how she said it.
Close enough.
Um,
Running back. It's good.
but she, you know, that kind of, it just doesn't spark joy for me anymore. Kind of started morphing into working on more quilting and sewing projects. And honestly, the Puzzle Mystery Quilt is one of those things that kind of helped me make that leap over into the quilty world.
I remember. So I found your channel and I had interns working for me at the time. And I was like, guys, check out this channel. And they're like, well, he was huge in paper crafting, but we're quilting. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you had these huge paper crafting videos. Like, if you guys look at Ian's channel from a long time ago, I'm like hundreds of thousands, like huge paper crafting videos. And then you took a little break and I was like, guys, I think he wants to get into quilting. Like, this might be a great, like, let's just try it out. He's so talented. He can obviously get people to his channel. Let's see, let's give him a quilt and see what happens. And it was amazing, Ian. It's the perfect kind of sweet spot for us, where there's someone who's looking to grow their channel and is highly motivated and has good content that's very aligned with our core values. Like, all boats float together, and it has been an amazing partnership. I remember you were president of the Dallas Fort Worth Monarch Quilt Guild. That was a subtle little slide in there. You're like, I can do quilt guilds. You were president, bro. Like, you were the head show of the quilt guild. So,
I was. During one of if I may say, one of the most difficult times I was president from 2019 to the January of 2021. So working through COVID and trying to figure out that whole incredible thing is just, it was difficult, but I was so proud to lead my group through that and figure it out. And, you know, everybody had to be very agile during that time. So it was more than what I signed up for, but I would never replace that experience, because it was such a great learning experience.
But you are perfectly placed for that. You are a tech savvy guru, right? If anyone can train a guild how to use technology, like, you're the person, right? You are in the right seat to have
feel like it. Toss.
Like, I can do Zoom with the best of them. Yes. All right. So, seeing how you're super tech savvy, like, you're always like, one of the blogs you did for us was including lights in a quilt, which is awesome and amazing. So tell me about some future looking trends you see in quilting, right? Where do you see the puck going? Where are the cool kids going to be?
That is a very good question that I've actually kind of talked a little bit about with some other quilty people in the community. And there was a proposal for a panel in the future. There's a lot coming up on the horizon. And you're right, I did kind of start dabbling in kind of tech and quilting. In fact, one of my first entries into a quilt show was a conductive quilt. It used your body to complete that circuit and play music. And it was, I have to tell the story really quick because it was hilarious. The judges, when it was hung up on the wall, it wasn't connected into, you know, any computer or anything at that time. The plan was we would move it to the booth at the time of the show, but it was going to get judged like all the rest of them. And on the response sheet where you got the notes from the judges, they said such a unique applique added in the corner of the quilt, which was the computer board, which helped make all of it work. So they had no idea what they were looking at. And that's one of the things that I would love to do more, is bring that technology and bring tech into quilting, because there's so many applications for it. The world is there's no limit for it yet. Where I see things going right now is AI. Like every other industry, AI is where it's going to be at for a little bit. And I have seen a post on Facebook. In fact, I've seen a couple of posts on Facebook of AI generated quilts, in the fact that they pull and create a picture of a quilt, and you can't quite tell if it's real or not unless there's signs, trust me. If they have 4 fingers or like 3 or 12, then you know it's AI generated.
Yes, yeah,
still working on it, you know, whatever, it's fine. But it's very interesting to see those AI generated quilts, because I can absolutely see somebody taking that as inspiration and using that to create an actual quilt from that design, almost in the way that Libs Elliott, if anybody's heard of her, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of her. She's very, very famous for her quilts because she actually uses code to generate quilt tops. And she was kind of ahead of the curve. She kind of started looking at how can we use technology to create quilts. And I got to hear her. She came and talked to our quilt guild. She was amazing to listen to, and just hearing her story and how she got into what she does was amazing. But hers is a little different. It doesn't quite use AI. It just uses basically random generators built on the computer to form those quilt tops and create the picture that she can then follow and use to create a quilt. And they're always stunning. I love her work. She's amazing. I don't know where else things are going, but I'm also hoping for maybe in the future sensors being in quilts that can help us, you know, track our health, see how we're doing on things. I know another way I'm using it is to track my quilts as I'm shipping it to shows. I actually will hide the air tag behind the quilt label, so that way I have kind of a better picture of what's going on and if that shipping company is really being truthful of where it's at.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So there's like 17 things I need to unpack from you. Like, I don't think you took a breath. Okay. So the concept of quilt as an experience, right? As an art experience. I am used to, and I know a lot of people are, quilt shows where the quilts hang on the wall and you have to have the white gloves to be able to flip them over and see a quarter of the back. And I think we live in this world where high quality quilts are ones that you just look at. And I love the concept of it being an experience, right? There's an immersion element to it, right? When you walk in a museum, it's not just paintings on a wall, there's sculptures and there's all sorts of three-dimensional displays. And I feel like that is a missed opportunity for a lot of guilds, is that they prefer the, you know, white glove. I need to look on the back of my quilt and it's very static. And to your point, they don't know how to judge a three-dimensional piece of artwork, right?
Correct.
I am in a modern quilt guild, and the concept of a quilted jacket is seen as traditional. And I'm like, oh my God, you guys, like, look at the runways, and these are like experiences, and they're three-dimensional and they come out at you. And I think that there needs to be some shifting in how we evaluate quilt as an art form in order to be able to encompass new definitions thereof.
Absolutely. I think, and especially because like you talking about that experience and wanting to have that experience with a quilt. Another idea that I had is I wanted a quilt to react depending on how close people got to it. So the closer you got to it, the more it lit up and did things. Still working on the idea, need help with it, but that's, you know, I want it to be more of an experience and have that interactivity, because I've come from the museum world. I know, you know, a lot of things about creating interactive elements and creating these interactive experiences. And I would love to see that move over to quilting as well.
Right. And I love bringing AI into quilting as well. So we have this super talented kid at WashU. He's an up and coming quilter. He's been like displayed on national tours, and he uses AI to generate quilt patterns. And he's looking at the juxtaposition of software and art. And I'm always impressed with the number of people I talk to in these interviews that are scientists, that are engineers, that are computer science, computer engineering. And it's interesting because people think quilters are just women that sew blocks together. And it's like, it's so much more than that. I call it textile engineering. It is closer to engineering than it is to crafting. And I love the technology and the science and the rigor that comes with the quilting process from the beginning to the end, from the design through the finishing. It is truly, truly an engineering to scientific form. Lift up your eyes.
Yeah, sorry, the iPad is like getting ready to slip down. But yeah, no, it's true. And there's so much that can be done. And so like everyone feels like, not everyone, but there are people out there who say, oh, every pattern's been made, everything's been created already, but there's still so much more possibility out there.
Well, I mean, I'm reminded of, you know, the head of the patent office in 1900 saying everything's been invented's been invented. Like, oh my God, 124 years later, and look at all the things that have been invented. And I feel like anytime anyone says something like that, I'm the type of person that takes it as a challenge. Like, I'm going to prove you wrong. Like there's so much out there. And whenever you have human creativity, I mean, AI has its place. It's a tool. It will never replace artistic human creation and our ability to really put things together in an aesthetically pleasing fashion.
Yeah. Especially when it gives us 4 or 3 fingers.
Yes, I know. I saw one the other day that was like humans on an escalator and had like dismembered bodies. Like, okay, right. So it has a little bit of a way to go. I mean, it is still just terrifying me and keep me up at night as to what it'll be like when my kids are older. But at the same time, like there are definitely limitations to it. Right. No,
Absolutely.
I love this concept of putting a tracker on a quilt that you ship, because I've heard, we've shipped quilts everywhere.
Mhm.
I've never thought to put a tracker in it, but this is an amazing idea and concept. So how did you come up with this? Was this like your own creation to do
Oh my
this?
gosh, I wish. No, not even close. I have to give full credit to my quilter. She was like, "Oh yeah, I put air tags inside my," because she had one that traveled across the country. It was a part of one of the shows that goes to many different cities. And so she put an air tag in it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's such a great idea!" And it's funny because I'm in a group on a message group on Instagram, and there the members, we were all kind of talking about like who's putting a tracker on, what kind of tracker are you using, all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff, because quilts have been lost, and it's always terrifying when you package up your quilt and you're ready to hand the box over to UPS, FedEx, USPS, whoever it may be. It's always terrifying handing that quilt over, because you're handing a piece of your soul almost over to them, and hoping that they will get it to where it belongs. And
Mhm.
I never want to lose a quilt. I hope it never happens to me. And let's be honest, even if it does get lost and I have the tracker in it, I can't just fly to California, to New York, to wherever the quilt may be. I can't just fly there and be like, "Oh, here it is. I found my
Right.
quilt." But maybe it might help at least somehow track it down and get get the information to the authorities, or whoever's looking for it. They might have a better idea of how to get it back.
So I feel like every single thing you said, I feel like every single package we ship, like we put so much love and every single thing into the box and into the mystery quilt, and we give it so much love, and we send it off into the world. And then the post office, like, oh my gosh, like it is a great mystery of the world. Like
Yes.
we're so excited, launching a new mystery, take our stuff. Oh my gosh, I put so much care into it. And then it's like poof. And it's like 20 miles from here, it's on its way to New York and to California. And so I like the concept of the tracker, but in
Mhm.
that case, I don't information is not always a good thing, but it gives
Sometimes.
you confidence. Yeah, like it gives you confidence that things are on their way.
Yep,
All right.
absolutely.
So let's talk about your YouTube channel. So talk to me about the community you built there. What is it like? What does it feel like? How do you build it? How do you keep it consistent?
First of all, I have to say that I think the quilting community is probably the best community on YouTube. I have had such a great time interacting with everybody, and my channel's kind of morphed over. For a little bit there, you mentioned that it kind of went silent for a little bit. I only did the Puzzle Mystery Quilts, was pretty much the only videos I was making for a period of time. But jumping in and hearing the community and interacting with the community and creating, because I go live every Sunday, and I am amazed that people want to come watch me literally sew on a project. That's what I did this last Sunday. I had a project that I am working on, a block of the month, and I'm not giving instructions. I'm not really doing anything other than just giving a place for the community to come hang out and spend time with each other, which I feel is so important, because there are some people who are not able to leave their house, and accessibility is so incredibly important to everybody and to the world. And so I want to give a place that you can come, hang out, chat, talk. I talk about what TV show I'm watching, what music I'm listening to, what's happening in the quilty world. I want to provide that community place that everybody can kind of hang out, have fun, and kind of bounce ideas. I always ask people in the chat, like, I ask them questions, but I also, so many people will come in with their own questions. "Hey, I have this fabric. What pattern would be good for this?" Or this, that, or the other. There's a million different questions that get asked. And I love that my community supports each other and says, "Oh, I have an answer," and pipes up and gives that helping advice that somebody may not have, because maybe they live 20, 40, 60 miles outside of a major city. And so we want to be able to get that accessibility to people who would otherwise not have that community. So I am super happy to have my community, and I try my absolute best to stay relevant. I try to keep with what trends are happening, AI, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But as we mentioned earlier, but also, just fostering a loving community that knows that imperfection is okay. My tagline on my channel is "normal is just a setting on the dryer," and people will see me mess up all the time, and my lovely friend Jack has to come play for a little while. So I want to be able to foster that environment where you see me mess up, it's okay, and we all know that a finished quilt top is always better than a perfect one.
And that's amazing, right? So don't underestimate the power of that, right? The fact that people can come to your channel and ask the question that they're afraid to ask anyone else, there's power in that, right? Because there's a
Yep.
lot of places where if I have a question, I'm too embarrassed, I'm too intimidated, the quilters are too good, everything is too perfect, and they're going to be wasting their time if they try and help me solve a question. And I don't want to
Absolutely.
feel stupid. Nobody wants to feel stupid. And I like and appreciate that on your channel, like there's no stupid question,
Nope.
right? We've all been there. We're all on this continuum of quilting experiences, and we all want to help each other continue to advance along the continuum. And so that is a powerful community message, Ian.
Absolutely.
All right.
Very, very powerful. And I love my community so much. I would not be doing what I'm doing without them. And I am so thankful every day that currently my channel is at like 13,000 subscribers, I think. They're all my friends. And I am thankful. Like, it blows my mind that people come and watch my channel. I say things all the time, and I'm like, I'm a little off the wall sometimes. I say things and maybe my filter doesn't quite catch it in time.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, y'all really come and watch this. This is the quality content you come to watch every week, right, guys? So it's a lot of fun though.
But that lack of a filter, right? That's what makes it easy to connect with you, Ian,
Yeah.
right? It's because you're getting the real, it's not a stage face, right? This is the real person that they're getting. So
Absolutely.
advance the clock, looking into your crystal ball into the future. Where are you going on YouTube, right? Where does the oracle take you?
100,000 subscribers.
Okay. All right. Good.
I would
Right.
love, absolutely love, like that has been a goal of mine on YouTube, is to hit that 100,000 subscriber mark, because that silver plaque, I would love, 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 love to hang that up on the wall and have that as an achievement. I would not stop people. I don't want people to freak out and be like, oh, he hit 100,000. Well, there goes all those videos. Not at all. Not at all. I would continue on, but I would absolutely love to hit that 100,000 subscriber mark, because I think it's a little rude, if I'm being honest, that YouTube doesn't give you anything between 0 and 100,000. It's just like, okay, but the community is great and I enjoy spending time with them. But just keep doing what I'm doing. Keep finding those new trends. Keep finding those things that are up and coming, and talking to people that I enjoy talking to. I love doing interviews, and I feel like my interviews are a little different because I want to know that person. I would rather talk to them and find out about them than have that preset list of questions, and just, try to find people that I absolutely like, that I absolutely love and adore and get along with. And it's just been, I had you on my channel, and that was, honestly, that was a great interview, because I learned so much about you and Cotton Cuts that were not on my question list at all. So I love being able to go in and do those interviews and really not have a script, just kind of go with the flow.
So my team has learned, I very comically showed my list of questions, right? So my team has learned that is like a jumping off point. Like,
Yep.
it's the, like, if I'm using that list, like, we're in a ditch. And so I had like,
Yep.
don't even look at it anymore. Like, see where the conversation takes us, because at no point would anyone have said Ian's going to talk about AI, right? I mean, I knew, I could have guessed you would have talked about it, knowing you like I do. But at the same time, like, I like to see kind of how these organically evolve and just see
Yes.
where we end up, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're getting lots of questions over here. And I feel like this is my learning opportunity on lives, is to kind of check out the questions as we go. So people are very encouraging of your 100,000. There's a lot of people that think, oh my God, that's awesome. However, there's also, because we're quilters and we're supportive of you, there are a lot of people that are like, you need to celebrate wins before 100,000. Right. And make sure that you stay focused, that there's a lot of things to get to 100,000. And while that may be the goal, there's a lot of things to celebrate along the way. So thank you, So Be It Quilts, for the reminder. Yeah, there's a lot of people that say you're a fantastic teacher, and it's like sitting and sewing with a friend, right? That's a high praise. That's high compliments, right?
That is, I thank you guys so much for that. That is incredible. And that's what I want it to be. I want it to be, we're sitting together, we're friends. And I gotta be honest, I just recently started kind of signing off with, I love y'all, because I think it's so important. I'm learning more and more how important it is to say I love you, and how important that is to really, even if, I mean, we're just talking about friends. loving friends is so important. And so I've really started to embrace that and being like, I love you before signing off each time.
That's amazing, because I think we're in a phase of the world where the social constraints around "I love you" are coming down. It's not just something women say to men, and it's not just something you say to a spouse or
Yep.
a mother or a child. That it's definitely something. I am in a group where there are 6 men and 2 women in a business group. And the number of times that I see the men saying "I love you" to each other, or like us saying, and it's like we love each other like siblings, right? Like,
Yes.
and it's I feel like the definition of a sibling and the definition of a close family is changing to where
Mhm.
things like "I love you" have a bigger definition than my immediate family and things
Yes.
that I have given life to. And
Absolutely.
I think that I like it and I love it and I appreciate it because I feel like it makes everyone feel included.
Yes.
And it's definitely an inclusive message that I love you, right? And we can love each other in a non, like marital way, and it's absolutely a-okay, right? We can love and
Absolutely.
appreciate each other without actually like all that other stuff. So yeah,
Absolutely. And I love that I love that men are becoming more comfortable in saying that to other men. Like it is so like I hear it and it's so great to see the direction that we're going in, and I hope it absolutely continues in that direction.
I agree. I think it's fantastic. All right, so talk to us about your puzzle mystery quilt experience. So eons ago, you started doing puzzle mystery quilts. Tell
Yep.
us all that good stuff.
This is so Tree of Life. We just started Tree of Life, and I got to look at my notes really quick because I'm losing track of them at this point. I've done so many that I'm now starting to lose track of them. Tree of Life makes for 10 puzzle mystery quilts that I have been going on, which is
Okay.
almost as long as y'all have been going.
Yes. I
Just
think we're on 15, 16. Someone else has that information. I think. Yeah, we're 15 or 16 along. Yes.
yeah.
Okay, 10 is huge.
It is incredible, and I never thought that. First of all, I have to say thank you from the very beginning because I was working on. I'm losing track of them. Hold on, I was working on Cosmos. There it is. I was working
Cosmos.
on Cosmos
What
back
was
in the
yes.
fall of 2019. That
Mhm.
was the one that I kind of started, and you saw my YouTube, and you saw that I was going live and working on those clues, and you were like, "Hey, what about an ambassador? Would you?" And I'm like, all right, sure. Let's see what this does.
Let's
And
try it.
I could not have imagined the journey that I've been on. And it's just been such a great one. So again, thank you. I always try to thank you. Thank you for believing in me and helping me get started in the puzzle mystery quilt. And I could not imagine my quilty journey without it. But Tree of Life has been amazing. And that one we are getting started with. I have to say though, I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to figuring them out because you remember last time during Village Green, I was
Yes.
that far
You
off.
were this close.
I
Yes.
was
Mhm.
so close, and my
Mhm.
experience with them, I feel like I keep getting closer and closer into figuring out what they look like. So be on the
You
lookout
are
for Carnival.
super dangerously close,
It,
right? So this is part of the fun things that we've added with you is that can Ian guess the final layout? And so
mhm.
we've been doing this 15, 16 times, 2,000 people every time. Like it's huge. And I think in all that time, you were the only one that's ever gotten really close. I think one other person got really close and posted in the group. He'd be like, take it down, but nobody really gets it at the end, and you are
Yep.
dangerously close. However, right? We have been doing a lot of medallion based designs around the
Mhm.
center that explode out. There could be some potential this way and that way action coming around where it's more block and less modular, less
Oh,
medallion based.
all
I'm just saying,
right.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna take that information. I'm gonna store it away, and we'll see what happens with it. Because I definitely am starting to prepare at
For
looking at
carnival.
Carnival. So
Yes.
we'll
Yeah.
see how that one turns out. I have some
Okay.
ideas. I have bought
Mhm.
my extra border fabric because you know that I like to customize my quilts by
Yes.
creating a
Yes.
border onto them. I can't let me.
Yes, that's San Marco, yeah?
That is San Marco. So I
Yeah.
do like to add, there we go. I do like to add some extra borders because yours, the quilt ends in over in here, but I'm a big person. I'm 6'2". I like to have a big quilt that I can fit under. I like a big quilt and I cannot lie. And so Kim, I'm gonna break you during this live. You are gonna be on the floor in a moment. Anyways,
Keep going, this is great.
I like to add in some elements that I find in the quilt. I may not know what the final quilt looks like, but there are elements that repeat throughout the quilt, no matter where they end up landing in the final creation. So during Piazza, I liked to pull in these kind of diamonds, square within a square, or whatever you want to call them. I kind of added those into as keystones. And there are many times that I like, oh, there we go. You're making me bigger, bigger on the screen there. All right, so technology, fun. So anyways, I like to customize my quilts and make them my own, even just if it's a small little detail that I can think of that makes that quilt mine.
I agree. So I love taking elements from the front and putting them into the back of the quilt, right? Because I'm crazy. I piece the front and the back because I feel like I put this much time into it, I might as well make it.
Yeah.
And so you do amazing stuff in the borders.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of taking center elements and kind of rotating them off axis and putting them on the back. Plus, it breaks up the back of the quilt, and I do stuff like that too. I am always inspired by your borders. And you're absolutely right. Each of the quilts has kind of a repetitive theme to it, the block within the block. I remember, I think it was Name of the Rose had kind of like a house community type of like house element to it that I brought on to the back as well. So
yes,
I love all of those things.
What's really funny with, you mentioned Name of the Rose, I was very, like, that's one of my favorite quilts. This one has become my favorite. Piazza has become my like top favorite, but Name of the Rose, because of it was of the juicy juice fruit. Wow, I was thinking of the juicy fruit gum. Goodness gracious, where am I?
What is going on now?
Juicy juice fabric. Let's get it incorrectly there. The juicy juice fabric. I love the colors. It was a beautiful quilt, and as I was sitting there, I again wanted to add the extra borders because at that time I was working on the small. I wanted a bigger quilt, and so I had chose the blue fabric to be the dark blue fabric to be my border fabric. And as I started looking at it, I put the quilt together and I started looking at it. And I'm like, blue's not going to work here. Blue is not going to work here because this is going to start clashing and it's going to end up not working. And so I had thankfully bought some of that yellow fabric and I changed it. I said, okay, let's do the yellow with this. And I'm glad I did because that yellow kind of started radiating out from the center. It was beautiful. I love that quilt.
As you were describing this, I'm like, I don't remember that quilt having a blue border. I thought it was yellow.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. I love all these ways and that it's a quilt, right? It's a design, but people are able to customize it and make it their own and, take the key elements and add them in different ways. I think it's absolutely awesome and fantastic.
Absolutely.
So if there is someone that is debating whether or not to join the Puzzle Mystery Quilt, what would you tell them? Why should they get on this bus?
Never do it. Never do it because you're going to get addicted. You will get addicted to them. I can't stop doing the Puzzle Mystery Quilts. They are just so much fun. Even if I wasn't an ambassador, I would be jumping in and working on these because they're so easy. You just have to spend a little bit of time. The no cutting part, I know I think every single ambassador in the preview, I think somebody talked about not cutting. Every single ambassador talks about the not cutting part, but it is so much nicer to just sit and sew rather than have to sit there and cut the fabric and then realize you cut it too small and you have to buy more fabric. You have to go over to the store. You have to buy a new bolt of the fabric.
Hope they have it. You have to hope they have it too.
True. You have to hope that they have that fabric. And that's too complicated for me. Getting that package in the mail and being able to put it together is just what makes the Puzzle Mystery Quilt so much fun. And it's funny because when I was visiting Becca, I was helping her work on her quilt. Which one was that? I was Carnival. I was helping her with Carnival.
Okay.
And I didn't have to record because I do step-by-step tutorials and I didn't have to record that. And I was like, wow, this goes together so much faster. It was so I don't realize how fast they go together because I am doing the step-by-step tutorial to help everybody with them, but they go together so much faster when you can just sit and sew. And I love that about the Puzzle Mystery Quilts. And I love that you get to customize them as well, because I have seen several people in the secret Facebook group, if you're not a part of that, you should be, that have customized their quilt for Village Green. They actually took, I think it was Begonia. They took some of their Oops fabric and changed the center square into more framing and fussy cutting around the owl. So I love that you kind of get to play with them, even if you're not like changing a whole lot, just those small little details make that quilt individual to you.
Yes, I like everything you just said, right? I love the Puzzle Mystery Quilt because I can just sit and sew, and I can do 3 or 4 clues at a time in a single session. I'm a big chain piecer, and I'm like, okay, these things are just going into my machine, done, and they get set aside.
Yep.
It is like absolutely just, it's a fun. I can feel accomplished. I can still
Yes.
sew. It's
Yes.
not a lot of stress. Like
That-
I'm doing this UFO challenge where I'm bringing out all these projects. I'm like, there is so much stress in these other projects. Oh my God, I'm never going to make it. But like the PMQ, I'm like, it's easy. The instructions are clear. I just zoop, 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 sew it away. Even the
Yep.
final assembly is so easy to follow. Like, I think the hardest part is me making my own mistakes and like turning parts and pieces. But you know what? That's kind of part of the creative process. And
Yep.
everything we've always done. There's
And
always, oh, go ahead.
And I have to say 2 things really quick. The first one is it is a great way to bust the loss of sojo. It's a great way to have, because I always say when people are like, oh, Ian, I've lost my sojo. What do I do? I always go for small wins. That's whenever I lose my sojo. I want those small wins that I can be like, I put this together. I made this. And usually it jumpstarts that sojo back. And I love the Puzzle Mystery Quilts because it brings community to me. And I would not have known or ever met Becca if it had not have been for the Puzzle Mystery Quilt. So
All of that, right? And Becca's awesome, right? Doesn't everyone want to know
she's
Becca?
amazing.
Right. And I feel like you're absolutely right. Like I'm at this phase, like if I go into my sewing room, like the idea of starting a new project, it's like, wait to pick a pattern. I have to
Yeah.
pick the fabric. But once I sew like a mystery quilt, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Like, let's keep going. I like this train. Let's keep writing it forward. And it is absolutely amazing. It is a great way to get back into it. Okay. So you are sewing the large radiant for Tree of Life.
Yes, I am.
So this colorway was not picked by you, as we said in the intro. Becca picked it for you. However, like she played the party line on this one. This is the one I saw coming for you a mile away. So
Yes.
tell us, how do you like sewing your radiance so far?
So far, it is great. I am loving the color palette. The fabric is just beautiful. Once again, Juicy Juice fabric. Chef's kiss. They are just so beautiful and they are so radiant. See what I did there? See what I did there?
I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it.
They are beautiful, and I'm loving how Clue 1 came together. And I just got my box today. We were talking about shipping just a moment ago. I don't know where it's been hanging out for the past however long it's been there, but it just got here today. My shipping just changed, I think yesterday and it appeared today. I don't know.
I
I
say
don't know
these
these
things.
things.
I say these things like, guys, it might not get scanned until it gets to you. And you're an example of that. It didn't get
Yeah.
scanned until it got to you. And I'm like, oh.
Yes. Yeah. And I see so many people in the group that are like, oh, my package. Oh, it's not here. Oh, and I'm like, I almost guarantee you the moment it shows up, it will not the moment it shows up, but you will get notified like right before it shows up because I don't know what the post office is doing with them. Granted, I fully respect the post office and they're very hardworking people, but sometimes it's just like, where did this go?
Right. Well, and someone commented a little bit ago, I saw a comment that, there's someone in the postal service that is making beautiful quilts with our packages.
That's a funny idea.
I remember there was one year and we were starting a new mystery and an entire like poly bag of clues just disappeared.
Ugh.
And it was like 3 different colorways. There were like 115 clues. And I know they were all in the same bag. The people that packaged them were standing right next to 115 clues. Poof, gone. And we replaced all of them because we've tracked them all down. We replaced all of them right. We made it all right with everybody. And I'm like, that person at the post office that just like slung the bag over their shoulders and walked out with it. I mean, someone might have taken it off the dock, right? Who knows? I literally was searching in the ditch outside the post office for 3 weeks. Like, surely this bag rolled down the hill into a ditch somewhere. Like, you never know.
I have to ask, when you go to the post office with all these packages, do the postal workers just kind of go, "Oh, here's Kim again"?
Well, so our postal people at our local places are amazing and they are super nice. And Jermaine is our carrier and he's constantly he was featured in a reel a couple weeks ago. Paul is very proud of it. He loads the truck up. They fill it. They fill up so much stuff in the back of the truck. Occasionally when we're like, we need to get these out, we'll take them in our own personal cars and we'll fill up the loading dock. But our carriers are amazing. We tell them like, hey guys, we got a Clue 10 shipping, and they'll bring that supersized USPS truck. I've never seen this truck before. I've seen it a couple times since, but they bring it up and it's got like shelves on the inside and they just load it full. And I'm like, oh, my heart is happy. That is a lot of stuff leaving us and going to its rightful owners. And so, the mail is working as hard as they possibly can with what they got. And so everything will get there eventually. And it's hard to like, I see a lot of people like it's Clue 1. But I'm like, guys, it's a marathon as well, right?
Yes.
So like you might be struggling to get your Clue 1 now, but like Clue 10, that's the big one. That's the one you want in your hands right when things happen. So yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So Ian, how can people find you? How can they hook up with you after all this shenanigans?
Absolutely. I hope if they are not familiar with me that they will check me out over on YouTube, off Kilter Crafter Ian on YouTube. I do a live show usually every Sunday. I try to schedule them every Sunday, and I'm getting ready to do a sew along. So if people are interested in a sew along, they should check that out. And then I am less active on Instagram. I'm a really bad social media person because I'm like, YouTube is pretty much it. And I sometimes will post random things on Instagram. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day. So make sure to check out both YouTube and occasionally Instagram when I decide to post something because I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't done anything over here. I should do something on Instagram for a bit.
It's funny because every time I ask them, I'm like, how do we find you? They're like, here, this. We learned about Discord and we learned about Twitch from Becca and Discord from Sean and like all these other places. And everyone has a podcast. And I'm like, I can barely keep it together what I've got on my plate right now. So
that is literally me. That is literally why I do not have 25 million different social media apps and tweets and things. I do have a Facebook page, but it just flows over whatever I post on Instagram on Facebook. I'm so bad. I'm really bad at this. I should get better at this.
It's like this guy again. Oh my God, he's just cross-posting stuff. Like we already saw that on the Instagram. We don't need it on the Facebook.
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged.
So this week we are starting to ship our spirit kits, and you are doing a spirit kit, and you're going to get that package. It's going to come to you and hopefully arrive in 2 days. It could take 10. I don't know.
Who knows? It may go to Hawaii first. Who knows? Can I go to Hawaii? I want to go on the trip with that package.
I know, right? Can I just shrink down and go with it? So tell us, what colors did you pick and why?
Okay, so yes, you are launching the spirit quilts, the spirit kits, and I'm super excited. And I chose gold, and I can't remember the specific red. I know it has a red to it, but I chose those specific colors not because I'm a Chiefs Taylor Swift's boyfriend fan. I chose it. I chose it because I am a Gryffindor. I've always taken every quiz I've ever taken for which Harry Potter house are you in. I've always got Gryffindor, so I wanted to do a Gryffindor, which I think is a little different than what people may originally think for the Spirit Quilt, because they're thinking high school colors, college colors, official sports ball teams, yay! But I wanted to go with something a little different and do Harry Potter instead, because you have all 4 house colors on there as well. So people can sign up to do Harry Potter, which Harry Potter, like that is, everybody loves Harry Potter.
It is.
So I think that is another way to use that spirit quilt in a way that you may not think about.
Hey, Paul, make a note. No, I love and appreciate that you're a Gryffindor, right? Everyone wants to be a Gryffindor because that's the house. I'm a Slytherin.
Oh no! How?
My husband and I are Slytherins. My oldest child. So people know Lincoln and Dominic on this channel, right? The boys have been on here many times. So Lincoln, my oldest, he's 13. He went to a birthday party at 3, and they asked him what Harry Potter house he wanted to be in. And a 3-year-old's like, what are you talking about? Like, the adults care about this way more than any 3-year-old at this Harry Potter birthday party. And he's like, well, what do the houses mean? And they said Ravenclaw's a smart kid. And he's like, I'm a Ravenclaw. And every single test he's taken since has been a Ravenclaw. And of course, my little Dominic is a Gryffindor. And he you see him take these tests and you're like, he's going to be a Gryffindor again. Yep. Like all of us Slytherins are jealous of the Gryffindor over there that gets to be the hero of this story. Yes.
Yep. It is oddly weird how often when I do take those tests that Gryffindor pops up, and I'm just like, all right, that is my house. That is what it will be forever and ever. And when I go to Harry Potter World, which I did, I will be masquerading as the Gryffindor that I am, because I am perfect. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
not evil. I have all the other Slytherin traits, just the not evil.
You're a tricky Slytherin because you always work on these puzzle mystery quilts, and you hide those secrets, and that's why you're a Slytherin.
I'm deducing, yes. Okay, so you're going to be sewing your Gryffindor quilt on a co-joint broadcast with Becca. Do I have that right?
I'm sure I'm going to be doing something somewhere. We haven't discussed the details, but I'm sure that at some point Becca and I will be sewing it. I'll probably be sewing it on a live Sunday. It's one of those projects that I can kind of put onto the rotation and just kind of see where it lands and see what happens.
Perfect. So I did the Kansas City Chiefs one, the
Yes, you
like
did.
who wore it best. I made that one. The quilt is super easy, guys. It is literally like just like sit and push it through the machine, and before you know it, you've got this like super fantastic, amazing large quilt. I loved it. It's really easy to do, and so Ian, I think you're gonna love just kind of weaving it in wherever you feel like it. All right,
I'm kind of excited because I'm also, I have to customize stuff. So I'm already kind of brainstorming on how can I customize this?
now I designed that quilt, man. You can't change it.
Oh,
You're
heck
not
yeah, I can. Patterns are just suggestions.
True story. I'm sure when I write the pattern, it'll have all sorts of caveats. Like, feel free to modify. Here's some alternate layouts. Here's some adjustments you could make. But I really liked it showing it per the pattern because all my seams nested and it fit together and all my points were perfect. And so take it with a grain of salt. If you modify said technique, you might end up with some wonky sauce junctions, but that's okay because it's your quilt and you are allowed to do whatever you want with it. And it's going to be an awesome Gryffindor quilt.
I can see the steam coming out of your ears. He's going to do what?
No. When I design these things, it is for you to love and me to appreciate the fact that you took an idea I had and made it better because no idea is perfect. And so I love seeing people's different interpretations of all these things we put out into the world. So with that, it has been lovely chatting with you, Ian. It's great catching up with you. I appreciate you spending the time with us. It has been absolutely joy and amazing. Everyone that's been leaving comments has been loving you guys as well, loving you as well.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Kim. Always enjoy talking with you, and thank you for adjusting to my daytime work schedule for this. I really do appreciate that.
It is my pleasure. I would not want to be anywhere else, Ian. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. We are going to sign off for now. I'm pretty sure we have another live coming up. I don't know. Just check our socials. You'll find us. And if not, we will see you Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. Everyone have a great rest of your evening, and we will see you soon. Oh, and I'm going to do it, Ian. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Love it. Love it. Love y'all.